I have monitored and written about ABC bias for a quarter of a century, but never have I seen the national broadcaster campaign so hard against the Liberal Party as I have now, using your money, taxpayer money, to destroy the Liberals. And last night, the ABC ran probably the most shameless and savage and biased smear of the Prime Minister and his government I have ever seen. It was on the 7:30 program, the ABC's flagship current affairs show, which just makes it worse, and it ran for 8 minutes and claimed to be a review of the government's last 3 years. And if you believe the presenter, Laura Tingle, the government in those 3 years has been a complete and utter failure, led by a bungling fraud. Here's just some of it.
And from the beginning of the term, there were the issues that have continued to dog the government: establishing an anti-corruption body, claims of administrative incompetence, and relentless reports of taxpayers' money being channelled through what were alleged in Parliament to be partisan slush funds, which once again raised questions about the Prime Minister's character. The catastrophic nature of the fires and the PM's perceived tardiness, then absence, would leave an indelible mark on his Prime Ministership.
They know that, I don't hold a hose, mate.
Politics continued to be punctuated by scandals, grants skewed to target electorates, questionable land deals, but people started dying in nursing homes under the federal government's watch. Claims of bullying, sexual harassment or worse, a toxic culture for women in Parliament House. The government's capacity and competence has once again been under fire. Whether their tarnished image will matter as much as the PM's in the next 6 weeks is yet to be seen.
I have never seen the ABC spew out 8 straight minutes of anti-Liberal hate that sounded just like a script from the Greens. And this is from an ABC political editor on a national broadcaster that is meant by law, to be impartial in exchange for your taxes. Joining me is someone who has written for many years about ABC bias himself, Gerard Henderson, head of the Sydney Institute, columnist with The Australian, and author of the Media Watchdog blog. Gerard Henderson, how could the ABC have let that 8 minutes of anti-Liberal hate go to air?
Well, it did look like a Greens party attack ad on the government and in general, and Scott Morrison in particular, but it's what the ABC does. It's just quite regularly. It's just on this occasion it's significantly worse. Now, I think the problem here is, as we know, and it's been discussed on your program before, Laura Tingle, not so long ago, the chief political correspondent for 7:30, declared that the Morrison government was into ideological bastardry. That's what she wrote in a late-night tweet, and that's what she thought at the time, and I assume that's what she still thinks. In view of that, the professional thing for Ms Tingle to do was to recuse herself, step down from this campaign until the campaign's over. And the professional thing for the ABC Managing Director, David Anderson, who also is supposed to be Editor-in-Chief, was if Laura Tingle wouldn't recuse herself because of her publicly expressed views, was to step her down for 6 weeks or 7 weeks until the campaign's over. It hasn't happened. So what went to air last night was an appalling example of propaganda. I mean, it didn't mention, for example, a central thing to virtually everyone watching tonight is that Australia has one of the most successful economies in the world. And there's been 9 years of coalition government, so they must have something to do with it, and 4 years under Prime Minister Morrison and Treasurer Frydenberg. That wasn't mentioned. So this is quite a scandal. What will happen? Absolutely nothing, because David Anderson doesn't run the company, nor did Norman Swan before him, and Laura Tingle and the team at 7:30 run 7:30, and Paul Barry and the team at Media Watch run Media Watch, and so it goes on. So I would say nothing would happen. Should something happen, well, it should happen tomorrow. Laura Tingle should recuse herself until the end of the election campaign is over.